And the minute you turn 18, you can walk out that door, and I have to know that I gave you everything I got to be a productive person in society. And I always say, and you've heard me say this before, is that this is your boot camp from birth to 18. We don't own our children. If we did, we would still be responsible for what they're doing at 31. Thank God we're not.
Hello and welcome to the Positively Healthy Mom podcast. I'm your host, Laura Ollinger, teen and young adult well-being coach and founder of Positively Healthy Coaching. Okay, guys, today I'm so excited. I can't even contain my energy. This is Veenu Keller. She has been a mentor and teacher and coach of mine for over 5 years now. So she is, you have to know, she's an internationally known family transformation coach, creator of the Parent-Child Whisperer method, and mom of 6 kids who helps families move from chaos to connection using practical behavior-based tools that actually work. So through her global training and certification programs, Veenu Keller teaches parents and professionals like myself how to replace control and punishment with collaboration, curiosity, and real communication so that the change actually lasts. So with that being said, I'm super excited, Veenu, to have you to the show today.
I am so excited to be on your podcast. I was watching one of your episodes and I was like, I want to have a discussion with her.
Yeah. I think it's very overdue because of the fact that you have been my mentor and you didn't even know it. We were in the Neuroencoding Institute. Veenu she was the teacher of coaching. And so I learned a lot of my coaching skills from you. And now I've learned in a separate way through the Parent-Child Whisperer program. So I'm excited to say that's why I got my button now, if I can get it to focus, a certified Parent-Child Whisperer. And so Veenu, that has been amazing for me to learn from you because you have brought so much experience, 20 years of experience. So let's just start high level, background overview, kind of how we got to where we are today.
Right. So the same story I tell everyone, right, is that I was that 13-year-old who didn't want to live anymore, that I went to my mom and when she's like, oh, kids will be kids, when I was telling her I was being bullied, what I heard is, you're still not seen, you're still not heard. And what my mom was trying to say is, you're going to be okay. And so there was definitely miscommunication in that dialogue. And it wasn't what my mom said, it's how I internalized it. And now I'm a mom, and I was parenting through my wounds of not being seen and heard and not feeling good enough and everything else. And then I was duplicating the way my mom parented me. And it was through rush. I was working. I was a single mom. I was, trying to get my kids off to school and make sure homework was done and everything. My life was rushed. And in that, I yelled, I punished, I grounded. I took their phones away because that's when phones started to come out, in the late 90s, into 2000s, I should say. And honestly, I did the best that I could to survive.
Yeah.
I wasn't parenting through being conscious of what my kids needed. I was parenting to survive, doing the best I can, crossing my fingers I wasn't failing, knowing that my mom did the best she could, and I turned out okay in that scenario. So maybe my kids, it's like a wish and a prayer that they're going to turn out okay. And then I finally realized at 34 that my life wasn't over. It was just beginning. And that the cards I was dealt doesn't mean that my card game was over. And I could turn them all in and get new cards, right? And that's exactly what I did. I realized that in order for me to be the best parent I could be, I had to start seeing my kids' greatness. And in order to see their greatness, I had to see my own greatness. And I learned that first of all, let me back up. If somebody would have told me I was going to be a parent coach, yeah, that was not happening, not happening because again, I was a survival mode. I wasn't in a present mode of parenting. And that's literally what parenting is. It's being present with your children and what their needs are. So I had to clean up my own backyard first. And that's exactly what I did. I started to heal my own wounds. I stopped parenting through those wounds. I started seeing the greatness my kids had. I stopped yelling. No, I didn't stop yelling totally, but I shifted from yelling to having more discussion. I was being more patient. Nothing had to be rushed in that moment. And again, it's been a learning curve for me to where I'm at now. And then God gave me a do-over by giving me twins. So my oldest is almost 32 and my youngest are 13-year-old twins. So that just gives your audience an idea of when I say do-over.
Right.
And now my kids, my older kids say, you parent the twins so differently. And I do. And because when you know better, you do better. And now I realized my purpose in this world, my passion in this world is to bring the family unit back together because what I'm seeing is there's so much separation in this world. And it's not just with politics and religion and hate crimes and this and that. It's in the family and it's being bred in the family. And so what we're seeing now is that our kids are more influenced by the World Wide Web than we are. So they put more, the web has more clout than the parents do. And through, as you know, as one of my students of the Parent Child Whisper methodology, it is how do we be that bridge for families to be the influence in your child's life, to know that your word actually has a meaning to them and that they're curious about what you want to say because you've learned to be curious about what they're saying. And we're no longer in that world where I'm the parent, you're the child, you're going to listen to me. We have outgrown that state. We're now in a world of you want me to feel safe and trust you and respect you. How are you making me feel safe? And where are you respecting me? And are you trusting me?
It's so funny because my first question was going to be, what do you think the biggest challenge is for parents? But I think that deserves a double question, which is, what is the biggest challenge for kids?
Yes. Yes, that's a great question because and I'm sure you get this too, is like, my kids just don't listen to me. I don't trust them. How do I build trust with my children when they lie to me? Well, does your child trust you? Because when I get on a call with that kid, I'm like, do you trust your parents? And they're like, no. And they're like, I mean, I know I'm going to have a roof over my head and I know there's going to be food in the fridge, but do I trust them? No. And I said, help me understand that. And they said, because every time and that's a universal. Every time it's a matter of fact, and I don't like those, but this is what I get. Every time my parents say something, there's no follow through. There's no consistency. And they're like, even with punishments, that's why I get away with what I get away with, is that they'll threaten, they'll threaten, they'll threaten. And then I'll make an attempt that makes my parents feel good, and then I'll just do what I want anyway. And the parent just like, okay, whatever. So we're not creating trust creates safety. And that's literally what we're trying to do. If you make your child feel safe, if you make your child feel they're not going to be judged by you, if you make your child feel that no matter what they do, your love is unconditional, that you're not disappointed in them, they're going to trust you. They're going to know I can come to mom with this problem and she's the one that's going to help me solve this, not the internet, not Instagram, not my Snapchat, not YouTube, because we've created that open, safe, and trusting space for them now. Because the minute your child feels judged is the minute you lose opportunity to influence them.
Yeah. How do you get into the brain of this parent? Like let's just say there's a parent who doesn't have trust with their kid, isn't providing a safe environment, kind of all the things you just said, but they're not willing to acknowledge it. Like, oh, what are you talking about? I have a safe house. Oh, my kid trusts me. I'm blah 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 blah. Like, how do you even enter the mind? Because it's those people who need the most support. But how do you get them to acknowledge that if they're not really willing to acknowledge it? I guess that's the question, right? Like, how
Yeah.
do you help them see that?
Right. Because if they're not willing to be coached, you can't want it more than they do.
Yeah.
And so you have to help them see it and say, you know what? Let me help you understand. I could appreciate that you have created safety in this home. I can appreciate that you feel your child trusts you. And if you did know without a matter of fact that their safety, your kids feel safe, your kids feel they trust you, would they behave the way they do with you? Would they hide things from you? Would they tell you, well, they're allowed to do it? Would they hold back from you? Would they disengaged from you. There's a reason a parent's calling us in the first place, right? Their child's like doesn't feel good about themselves and they've told their parents. Their child is acting up and they don't know what to do and they got a referral for you. They feel that their kids' grades are slipping, you know? I mean, we don't have to go to the extreme of depressed or cutting because I do work with those too, right? I mean, that's like my niche of helping these kids not get diagnosed, but actually look at the behavior that they're having and what's causing it so we can change it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the lighter ones that are just like, that we're just arguing all the time and I don't know what's going on. So they're coming to us for a reason. So obviously they know there's some type of disconnect in that house. So that's when you ask them the question, say, look, I'm just curious. I'm not here to say you're doing it wrong. I'm here to say you're doing the best that you can with what you know. Are you open to shifting it to get the behavior you want out of your child?
Yeah, that's huge. Absolutely huge. And I think that's that opening, that's that bridge to connection with parent and coach, right? To get almost like permission to coach. Because so many of these families that come, I imagine for you and for me, it's like the fix my child thing, like, here, can you fix my child? And really what they don't realize is like, oh, and would it be possible?
Mhm.
Right? Like, you need to find that way in. And I think you do that so beautifully because you just kind of are very matter of fact. And you say,
Yeah.
what you just said. So hearing things like that, I think that a parent would really just hopefully take that in. And I know that your clients do, because they trust you. There's a reason why they hired you. There's a reason why they're like, okay, well, we're going to do what it takes to get Vinu to come coach our family because this is the problem that we solve. And so if you can provide that viewpoint of, and we need to get some behavior changes going on for you so that way you can get the behavior changes that you want for your child. Are you okay with that? Does that work for you? Yes, yes. Like, who would say no to that, right? Like, once they hear it that way, like, oh, so I need to shift so they can shift, right? Like, aha,
Yeah.
light bulb, right?
And I'm gonna give you another scenario. So there was a dad that I was talking to, right? Like, and he's very protective over his daughter because like he was like a single dad for so long. And the daughter's the middle child. And so I've been working with his family and, the dad was telling me that, the child feels like I didn't choose her, that I liked her other siblings better. And the dad says, I kind of could see that while you were here. It was during one of my in-home turnarounds. And I said, thank you for sharing that with me. I said, so here's a couple of things to know that's important. I work with the child who the behavior is showing up with. So if your daughter's behavior wasn't showing up until the end of when I was there, then that's what they're leaving on. They're leaving on like, oh, she redirected me. She wouldn't let me have these behaviors. And my siblings got away with it. Although they didn't see what was going on the first 2 days with those
Yeah.
siblings.
Yeah.
And the other thing I said to the dad, I said, and is it possible because you've been that person, you've been the dad, the warrior, the knight to show up for her, that you could have seen it through those filters, like, oh, I got to protect her because that's what she's feeling. And they're like, oh, I could see that. Yeah. And I said, so understand if she continues to have those manipulative behaviors that you've called me about, that we need to change, how is she going to be when she's a wife? Do you want her to be this way to her husband? And he's like, oh, of course not. I said, okay, so that's what we have to shift. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's not that you can't protect her. What she needs to realize is this is a shift for her in order to do better in her life. She's not doing it wrong. We want to make it better. And that's the scenario I bring in. And all of a sudden, the dad was like, okay, that makes sense. And I said, so let's just shift the filter. Let her know that she needs to get on a call with me again, that it's a non-negotiable. And you just say, look, you just got to see it when she was redirecting you. You didn't see it when she was talking to your sister. You didn't see it when she was talking to your older brother. You didn't see that. You just saw it, oh, it's me, which I can appreciate. But do you also remember when you had that time with her one-on-one, when you guys were, in your room doing your hair, and bring back those memories to help her understand that this is not a like or dislike. This is what needs to shift. And let's be honest, if a child is ruling the roost, they don't want anybody to come and change that
Yeah, of course.
on the
Yeah. Right,
surface. But
right.
if you go
Yeah.
internally,
Mhm.
they do want someone to come over and take control. The reason why they rule the roost at 10 years old, at 6 years old, at 13 years old is because they have learned the only way I can have safety is if I have control of the situation. Because control for us, right, makes us feel safe. If I'm in the driver's seat, I feel a lot safer than if you're in the driver's seat because I'm in control.
Mhm.
And so that's what that child has learned, that there's so many missed opportunities where they had to compensate and figure out what's going to get me what I want when I want. Because you got to remember, the kids are working from the animalistic side of their brain, the back of their brain. It's right now matters. 2 years from now does not matter. You want me to change my attitude for when I'm an adult? What does that have to do with anything right now? Why can't I just say what I mean right now and get what I want right now? That's all they're thinking about. So we have to be their frontal lobe as the adult. We have to say, look, I get you don't see it right now. And this is my opportunity as your mom to shape who you are going to be when you're an adult. And the minute you turn 18, you can walk out that door, and I have to know that I gave you everything I got to be a productive person in society.
Before we finish this conversation with Vinu, I wanted to highlight my in-home family transformation experience. You can get more information on my website at positivelyhealthycoaching.com/in-home. And if this is right for you, go ahead and click the Let's Talk button so we can talk. Now, back to the show.
And I always say, and you've heard me say this before, is that this is your boot camp from birth to 18. We don't own our children. If we did, we would still be responsible for what they're doing at 31. Thank God we're not.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. Thank God we're not. And so it's on borrowed time. We're the ones that get to teach them, is love conditional or is it unconditional? If you mess up and I'm disappointed in you, do they feel you're taking your love away from them? Because a lot of parents, that's how they feel. I'm going to tell you as a mom, I never took my love away from my kids,
Mhm.
but I can promise you they felt that. I can promise you there's something I said, something I did that they made me mad, and they felt in that moment, she doesn't love me. And so are we asking our kids, how do you know I love you? When I'm upset with you, how do you still know I love you? Do you recognize that just because I say no doesn't mean that I don't love you? Do you recognize that as a human, and when I put everything into it and you don't, do what we practice or do what I taught you, that there is going to be disappointment, but it's not disappointment in you, it's disappointment in myself.
Right.
And could you still know that I love you? And if not, how do I need to shift that? Because you need to know there's nothing you can do in this world that would make me feel like I don't love you.
Yeah.
And I would tell that to my boys. I'm like, and they would be, they were boys, and you have
Yeah.
boys, you know how they are. So what if I killed somebody? I'm like, well, let's hope that I've raised you not to kill anybody.
Mhm.
But even if you did, let's say it was an accident, I would still love you. I don't have to like your choices. I don't have to support your choices, but nothing can take away my love that I have for you.
Right.
That's unconditional. And that is what right now, kids feel love is so transactional.
Mhm.
You know what the biggest fear of a child is right now? Disappointing their parents.
Oh, right. Right. Yeah.
I mean, that comes over everything. That trumps every fear they have in their parent.
Yeah.
It's, am I going to disappoint my mom or dad?
Right. It's all about that performance. Like, am I
Mhm.
getting the grade they wanted me to get? Am I making the goal they wanted me to make? All the things are right. It just, you could go on and list all the things that they feel they want that approval or praise from their parents. And yeah, it's like, wow. And I feel like just in this conversation, it's great because I feel like it's giving the moms things to think about, right? Like things like, oh, like a little bit of self-evaluation going on here. Like, do my kids know I unconditionally love them? Like, how do they feel when I'm mad? Are they still feeling love no matter what? Like all the things that you're talking about. And, I hope that this is like just making an impact as far as, again, taking that responsibility, because as you were talking earlier, like what I imagine is this like lack of leadership, right? Like there's almost this void of who's in charge here, right? When you're saying the kid's in charge, somebody had to fill the void, right? Somebody had to step up in that family. And because nobody was there, that kid got like sucked into that role because it was so insecure and unsafe. And so they have to, and what I have found the most is that moms a lot of times are afraid to take that leadership role. A lot of times if either the dad is too busy, he's not home, maybe he is exhausted and he's looking for the mom to do it, or for whatever reason, maybe they're co-parenting beautifully, but the mom still has to lead as well, right? This is not just a dad job. And so it's like, I think it's so important just to hear this language, everything that you're saying, to like build moms up. Like, you are a leader in your family, and it's your job to provide this, I was almost about to say financial safety, but like that's part of it, but like emotional safety within the home, so that a kid can be a kid, can experience what it's like to make a mistake and mess up and do something wrong and disappoint their parents and still get that unconditional love, so that they can go on and then be healthy partners in their own relationships or in friendships, right? Like there's this ripple effect that I think a lot of times parents don't see, like where they're like, oh, we're just in a few bumpy years. It'll smooth out. They'll figure it out. They're not my problem anymore anyway. Right? And it's like, well, yeah, do you really want that for your child to like just kind of self-correct and then maybe end up in some troubled situations? So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that?
So I agree with everything that you're saying. And here's the thing is that most parents, because I know I was one of them, why would they think my love's unconditional? Like, I still pick them up. I'm still providing for them. And so we don't even recognize that our children are creating this meaning. Remember what I said when I was like telling my mom I was bullied, and she's like, kids will be kids. And she thinks she's like, you're going to be okay. Like, this is just how kids are. And what I was hearing is, you don't matter. You're not enough. And I just don't get you, kid. Go away. Right. Like, and that's how I felt. And in that moment, I wanted to kill myself. And I'm not saying it was my mom's fault, by no means. But here's the beauty of this whole situation. It's like a full circle to that story I started out with, is that 39 years later, I realized I didn't want to die. I wanted the suffering to die. I wanted the pain to die.
Right.
And that's what, if you have listeners out there where you've heard your kids like, I just want to kill myself, I don't want to live, and take it seriously, but also ask them this question. If I could take away all the pain and suffering you're going through right now, whether it's the boy broke up with you, the girls made fun of you, somebody started a rumor at school, if I took away all of that from you, would you still want to die? And I believe the answer would be no. It would be no, because I can look back and I would say, oh, I was 21 years suicidal and that was my story. But I look back now and I'm like, I never really wanted to die. I wanted the pain to die. I wanted the suffering to die, and I think that's important. So when your listeners are hearing this, it's not just saying, well, you don't want the pain, you just want the pain to die. Ask them, say, go over the pain so they feel heard. I know you're hurting because you got that C. And I know that you think it's the end of the world. And you know what? Yes, as your mom, I wanted you to have an A. We studied hard for that. But I want you to know that this is not the end all be all to who you are.
Right.
If it's grades, if it's the boyfriend breaking up, I get it. You're hurting right now. And I know you feel like life is over because if he doesn't like you and people are going to talk about you, your whole life is over. I get it. But if we took that away, would you still want to die? And I feel like this is the biggest aha I've had in ever of my coaching, because not only was I able to help another 13-year-old realize she didn't want to die, I realized so many years later that I never wanted to die.
That's so cool. That's so cool that because
Yeah.
I've been hearing you tell your story for obviously years now. And this is like a new version of it. I haven't heard this side of it. So it's so cool that you are finally able to realize that It wasn't you, it was this thing. It was the pain, it was the feeling dismissed, the feeling misunderstood by your mom, the lack of kind of care or empathy that she, again, she was doing her thing and she thought she was
Yeah.
doing a good job, right? It was how you received that message and what you made that mean. And I think just us talking about that, the moms are like, oh, right? Like they might be making it mean something else. And no wonder they're maybe lashing out. Like a lot of times you'll hear a parent or a teenager say like, I hate you, right? Like,
Mhm.
do they really mean that? No. Why are they saying that? Because they're not, whatever the thing is, not feeling heard, not feeling understood, not feeling validated. And so it's almost like you're backing them up against the wall and that's all they have left. Like that's their
And they're
mom's
defending. They're
yeah.
defending. They're pushing you off, and that's it is. And that's what the tonality is. And going back to your point about mom, and so I'm married. My husband is really we make a great team. We're really good at parenting when it comes to like knowing appointments, getting appointments and stuff. But here's the truth. I'm the one that makes the doctor's appointments. I'm the one that has to worry about their IEPs. I'm the one that follows what's going on in school. Are they missing assignments? I'm the one that has to set up the tutor. I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't have to. That is just part of being a mom in the leadership role, to your point. And I still work, and I still self-care, and I still travel, and I do all of it. And I wouldn't change any of it. And so, but is it tiring? Sure. You're a single mom. I was a single mom. And sometimes you feel like, okay, there's another partner here. Like, could they help out? But let's just pretend that they did.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that your ex did. Let's pretend my ex did. And here's the thing. I still would not have certainty that it would get done the way I needed to get done. So I don't want them to do it. I want to be in charge of it. And here's what's great is I just text my husband and I say, hey, I got the twins' eye appointments on this day. Hey, they got to go to the orthodontist this day. And I look at his schedule and guess what? I make their appointments around his schedule. So I know he's going to be home and I know he could take them. Yes. And it's a great teamwork, right? And so it's like since I know that I still have that ability to elevate my voice when I'm rushed. But here's what's the beauty of it is when I'm getting that way, I know in my mind, I'm like, you're yelling. And I say, I'm feeling rushed right now. You all know what happens when I get rushed. Can you please give me 5 minutes so I can finish what I need to do? And I will be present with you. And so there's less yelling now, like even more so than when I learned not to yell so long ago, because I am aware of what are my triggers to elevate that sound.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids know, like I was like what we were talking about before, I can give them the side eye look with the finger up and they know, oop, not now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just love chatting with Vinu, and I think you're going to get a lot out of the next part of the conversation that will continue on next week's episode of The Positively Healthy Mom. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. When you get a chance, please go to the show notes and click on the link ratethispodcast.com/tphmom to give my podcast a rating and review. And if this episode resonates with you, be sure to share it with your mom friends who are going through the same things. Be sure to tune in for next week's conversation. Until then, keep up the good work.